Do you make cold calls all the time with the hopes of filling your pipeline chock full of leads? Or let me ask you this. Do you think to yourself, man, I really should be making more cold calls in order to generate more opportunities? Well, either way, what I can tell you is that the world of cold calling has changed dramatically in the past few years with the introduction of so many new technologies and the fact that prospects are just so much savvier than they've ever been leads to a very new dynamic around cold calling. And if you're doing what you did even just a couple of years ago, chances are that's not going to work. In this video, I'm going to show you the truth about cold calling in sales. Check it out. Number one, quit cold calling. If you are making a pure cold call, which means getting a contact record, picking up the phone and dialing and just giving some automated call, so to speak, you're in trouble. We need to be doing so much more than just the traditional old school cold calling that we saw in movies like Glengarry Glen Ross and Boiler Room and all of those things that seemed so compelling, and we all thought to ourselves, man, if I just made more calls, if I just did more of this, good things will happen. The reality is that a true cold call nowadays just doesn't work. You need to be mixing in so many different strategies with that call in order to make it effective. Number two, use a prospecting campaign. So you may have heard my first tip and thought, oh man, this guy's telling me to just never pick up the phone again. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you're making calls, you should use it within a prospecting campaign. So that means using every tool in your arsenal, using every single possible way to get in front of a prospect. So that means things like cold email, LinkedIn messaging or connections, direct mail, voicemails, any way that you can get in front of a person to make it so that way by the time you actually get them on the phone, they're saying, oh yeah, I think I recognize this person. They sent me that email or they sent me that white paper, whatever it is. By combining the calls with a prospecting campaign, you are dramatically and significantly increasing the likelihood that someone is going to have a positive response to whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish. Number three, map out your entire process. This is an area where so many salespeople get it wrong. Even if they're using email and LinkedIn, they're using a couple of different mediums by which they're contacting people. They're not really mapping out the whole process. They tend to be pretty haphazard. They send out a message today and then they're like, I'll call them tomorrow. Instead, what you want to do is map out every step of the process. So assuming that a prospecting campaign is, let's say, a 6-week process, that means that over the course of 6 weeks, you want to make about 20 touches. Well, what do those touches consist of? And in what order? And then what's the timing of each touch? Assuming that, of course, that you don't actually get through to the person or you don't hear from them. So mapping out your entire process over, depending on your sales cycle and the types of people that you're reaching out to, typically over about a 6-week process, you want to map out that entire process. So that way, by the time you actually get them on the phone, they're like, oh yeah, this is the person who's been reaching out to me and has been sending me valuable information. Now you are so much more effective in that outreach. Number four, script out each step. There is no piece of advice on selling that is both more effective and yet more controversial in the world of selling than scripting. If you are making a call, if you are sending an email, whatever it is that you're using to reach out to someone, if you're not following a script or at least a template that maybe you're going to personalize, but you need to have that format, that process that you're following each and every time. If you're just picking up the phone and saying whatever comes to your head, you're completely screwed. It's just ludicrous. Imagine watching a movie and the actors are just kind of making up whatever comes to their head. It doesn't make sense. Even improv actors, when you go to a great improv show, they are making up what's coming to them, but they're following a structure, a format to make sure that what they say is actually going to be funny. And it's the same thing with sales. Have your scripted process laid out so you know exactly what you're going to say when you actually get the person on the phone. Number five, do your homework to personalize. In today's world, where prospects are more bombarded by salespeople than ever before, there is nothing that will help you stand out more effectively than good personalization. By personalizing your outreach in a way that is relevant to the conversation you're trying to have, you are going to show the prospect that you actually care about them, that you've really done your homework, and that you know what's going on in their world. One of the best ways to do that homework, to personalize, is to just use LinkedIn or LinkedIn Navigator as a way to do some research on the prospect, to know some basic ideas, where they're located, what it is that they do, what's their title, what they've done in the past, other companies that they've worked at, people that work for them, or the number of people in their department. When you can personalize your outreach in a way that's showing that you've done your homework, you are going to be so much more effective than if you just use a straight templatized approach to outreach. Number 6, make at least 20 touches. The data shows that top prospectors are making at least 20 touches to prospects before they determine that someone is not going to be a fit or that it doesn't make sense to follow up anymore. Now, 20 touches doesn't mean 20 dials. It means 20 different ways that you're reaching out. So that can mean phone calls, voicemails, emails, LinkedIn messages, letters, stopping in at their office, whatever those different touches are over the course of typically about 6 weeks, to make sure that you are doing everything to show that you're both persistent, that you understand them, and that at the same time you're really providing value along the way. So that way, even if at the very moment they're thinking, I'm busy, this doesn't make sense for me to reconnect with this person, they're still feeling like, okay, this person is providing value. Those 20 touches are going to make such a difference as opposed to just making that one dial and then giving up, or those 2 dials and then just giving up. Number 7, no is very good. At my organization, we have an agency where we do outbound cold email prospecting for our clients. And one of the things that we find so valuable is a negative reply. A no is actually a really good piece of data. Because first of all, one is it allows you to take them out of whatever sequence you have them in, or allows you to take them out of your prospecting campaign. But it's also giving you feedback along the way around what kinds of people actually are a fit and what aren't a fit. So obviously yes is good, but no is also good. What we want to limit and narrow the field of are the people that we either never hear back from, never get through to, or just kind of never get anywhere with. So appreciate that a no is not a bad thing. If you pick up the phone and someone tells you to take a hike, this doesn't make any sense, that's great. Or you send them an email and then they reply with not interested, that's great. Now you know that this person isn't a fit, so you can obviously move on, and you're starting to get that data and those ideas around what is and what isn't a good fit. Number 8, always get a clear and scheduled next step. This is so key in prospecting. I have a forum of clients who are constantly asking me questions, and one of the things that I always hear are things like, hey, I had a great call and they said to get back to me in 2 weeks, and so when I did that, I never heard back from them. Or I had a good call and then we said, okay, we'll reconnect next week to check in, and then when I try to check in, I never hear from them, they're gone. This is such a simple thing to change. All you have to do is just get militant about scheduling clear and scheduled next steps. That's all it is. Using the little calendar invite, whether you're using G Suite or whether you're using Outlook or some other system that I don't know of in between. Just use that calendar invite, make sure that you ask them, hey, do you have your calendar in front of you? Which they always do, and get that clear and scheduled next step. Even if it's checking in for 10 minutes on Tuesday of next week, it's fine. Make sure that it is clear and scheduled every single time. By the way, this isn't just for prospecting, this is for everything in sales. No matter where you are in the sales process, you always want to end every step with that clear and scheduled next step. Number 9, use assumptive calendar invites. This is a technique that we've recently started implementing that we really love. And the reason we love it is because it works. When you are prospecting, particularly by email. Oftentimes, the easiest way to actually get someone to respond is with email. And so let's say you're going back and forth on email and they say, yeah, sure, why don't we set up a call? If you reply with, would Tuesday at 3 p.m. or Friday at 1 p.m. work for you, you have created a step that then requires them to go in their calendar. If they think it works, then they have to reply back to you. And then you're going back and forth. So instead of doing that process, what we do is we use assumptive calendar invites. So if someone replies to us and says, yeah, this sounds like something interesting I'd be happy to talk about, we email them back and we say, George, really appreciate it. How would Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern work for you? I just sent you a calendar invite, and if that time doesn't work, let me know. Otherwise, you can just accept the invite. And what we find is that the response is just people accepting that invite. Done. And now you have the call scheduled in your calendar and in their calendar. Assumptive calendar invites are so powerful. And all it means is that you're sending that calendar invite as the first option. And of course you say, hey, if this time doesn't work, let me know what does, and we can go back from there. And what I find is that the actual close rate for an appointment is so much higher using that approach. So there is the truth about cold calling in sales. And if you enjoyed this video, then I have an awesome free training on the data-driven approach to help you crush your sales goals. Just click right here to get registered instantly. Seriously, just click right here. This is an in-depth training that will help you close more sales at higher prices, all while generating more meetings. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking my little face right here to get access to a new video just like this one each week.